Hello and welcome to Jo Brand's Commercial Breakdown, a look at the world's best television advertising. Now, if you're watching this programme in Nicam digital stereo, you may notice that some of the ads are split, so you'd get Nicole coming from under your curtains and Papa under your scatter cushions. If you're watching it in widescreen, I should point out that it does tend to make things look wider and sort of more squashed, like you've been hit on the head by a lift. So this isn't all me. And if you're watching this in black and white, I'm afraid you're far, far too poor to be of interest to the advertisers. Now, I have to say, actually, I hate technology. When my pager goes off, people think I'm reversing. But TV technology is pretty amazing. Now, if you've got a digital telly, you can actually direct the coverage of your favourite football match, which means you'll be more powerful than the head of BBC Sport, which isn't difficult. Mind you, he has been a bit busier since he also took over responsibility for the stationery cupboard. They can do almost anything with TV nowadays. They can put a camera in a cricket stump, and yet they still can't put any jokes into Babes in the Wood. But the problem with making all these giant technological advancements is that it's still us poor half-evolved monkeys who have to operate it. You mustn't let technology go to your head.
Oh, before we joined ExpressView, we watched a lot of stuff that wasn't really us.
Yeah, apparently, we weren't being true to our inner spirit.
That's right. So now we only watch the things we want to watch without all that other stuff.
Yeah, we get to go places we never knew existed, see things we've never seen before, do things we've never done before.
We now make the second Wednesday of every month Travel Night.
That's our little way of getting out without actually getting out.
Tonight is Papua New Guinea night.
Matador night.
John made a fabulous bowl.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot of fun. That's great.
Call me selfish.
You are selfish.
But we only want to get the kinds of channels we want to watch.
We are selfish people. So.
You know, John, I'd do that Matador thing again.
Oh, I'm sure you would. Oh.
Hey, want better TV? Get your head in our dish.
Visit the Interact Multimedia Festival.
Why would someone spend their own time to hack into your company's computer system and post tons of your confidential stuff on the internet? For the same reason we pierce our tongues.
Who's watching your network?
There are some things that people do that they would never tell anybody else about, like necrophilia. And voting Conservative. No one ever admits to not understanding the offside rule. No one admits to being bad at sex, and no one admits that their disabled sticker is homemade. No one would ever admit to having an Ann Summers loyalty card or to missing Anne Diamond in the mornings. No one admits to watching pornography, but there is actual physical evidence that ordinary people do watch it. Well, they do in France, anyway. No, I'm not being anti-French. It's a provable fact. In the 1980s, the French government realised that the birth rate was falling. They realised that if the French continued having babies at the rate they were, there would be no French people left at all by the year 2084. Good news for horses and frogs. Bad news for Arsenal's Premiership prospects. So what they did, you see, to boost the birth rate was to produce a load of posters with photos of babies on them with the slogan something like, "Have one of these, they're great." But also, as part of this campaign, they made the state TV channel start to run porn films every Saturday night at 11 o'clock to put couples in the mood. This is absolutely true. And it worked. 9 months later, chaos in the maternity wards. In fact, it worked too well. A year later, they had to try to stem the baby boom. So every Saturday night at 11 o'clock on French state TV, 2 guaranteed dead cert British passion killers. Patrick Moore's Sky at Night, followed by reruns of One Man and His Dog. One Man and His Dog worked everywhere apart from Brittany, where men are men and sheep are extremely nervous at checking out. Now, we all have our dark secrets. We all have these dark compulsions to do things like this.
Wartime plans that seem to be building in that region. Rest assured that we are working on this problem 24 hours. Our delegates are behind the scene, not...
I wrote this poem for my wife because she told me it's our anniversary. Sharon, your eyes are like 2 blue circles with dots in the center, and your hair is your best feature because it's more or less the color of my workbench. Wow. Write that one down. Sharon, it's our anniversary, so have fun if you have time.
Wow. Really nice. Nice. Really. Very nice. Really gonna love it.
Mrs. Fradkin, I'm afraid the prognosis is not good. The obstruction is lodged in a very difficult place.
Can't you do anything to remove it?
Well, there is one procedure, but it's purely experimental.
Come over here, Mrs. Fradkin, and I'll show you how grave the situation is. I never get that one. Here, you try.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Good, man.
Bullet, bullet. Watch him now, watch him. Here you go, here you go. Watch him now, he gets you. Oh, bullet, bullet.
Rev, it's the taste you can't resist.
The crudest form of advertising is propaganda. In lots of oppressive countries, you'll see huge pictures of the dictator all over the place, presumably with catchy advertising slogans underneath like, "What a great bloke." Or, "Core, he's worth one. I'm glad he's in charge of our country." Instead of corporate logos, nations choose animals to represent their national characteristics. The Russians have the bear, the Americans have the eagle, and the French, of course, have the cock. Which is ironic, because as we've just learnt, the French need television programmes to remind them what to do and where to put it. And why is the British national animal the lion? There are no lions in Britain. We should have chosen a native species. Lord Nelson in Trafalgar Square should be surrounded by 4 hedgehogs or something. That'd stop the Scandinavian tourists climbing on their backs. Advertisers have many different ways of beefing up the image of their national products.
Noel Coward was a charmer. As a writer, he was drama. Velvet jackets and pyjamas. The gay divorce and other dramas. There have been some clever bastards. 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 Lucky feeders, lucky feeders.
Sonar, confirm hostile.
Bearing 070.
Sonarcon, what's course and speed?
290. 20 knots, passing hot bow.
Intercept course 359. We have a firing solution, sir.
Flight tubes 1 and 4. Turn port to course 359. 10 degrees up flame.
Consonar, hostile coming round.
She's gone active. Fire tubes 1 and 4.
The hostile is bearing right. Consonar, torpedoes have hit target.
Take us up, XO.
Take arms and prepare boarding party. Gotcha now, ducky.
What is the fuss about GM foods? We're all genetically modified. Just took a long time. 1 million years ago, all human beings were covered in thick black hair with our knuckles dragging on the ground. Now it's just Gary Bushell. Cows are genetically modified. I mean, do you think a cow would have survived 5 minutes in the wild looking like a mobile cocktail cabinet with 4 optics? Food advertising has given us some of our greatest and most memorable commercials. They're tasty, tasty, very, very tasty. Brilliant. Then there was Bisto. And last but not least, my favourite for Kellogg's Frosties, they're great. I wonder how long the creative team spent on that one. 2 weeks of brainstorming and they come back with, they're great. Apparently they're the same creative team who came up with the rejected slogan, Marmite, it's brown. Here's a few ads that may whet your appetite.
Hello, Pib. Hello, Pog. What have you got, Pog? Ooh, creamy Dairy Dunkers. How delicious. What are you going to dunk into it? What about the breadsticks? You are a naughty little scamp.
If you like your veggies, call Delachef. And chicken wings, spring rolls, subs, croquettes, pizza, sandwiches.
Advertising food for humans is fair enough. What I've never understood is advertising food for animals, especially cats. I mean, cats are perfectly capable of feeding themselves if we leave them alone. I mean, people always say things like, my cat brought in a blackbird. I think it was a gift. No, it's not a gift. It's the cat trying desperately to show you what he actually wants to eat. It's a plea for an end to Ting Kangaroo. My cat tends to bring in separate bits of a slightly larger animal, so what you end up with is a rabbit jigsaw. A nice gift for your nieces or nephews. But we won't let nature take its course. I mean, first there was the bell round the neck, which stopped the cat from hunting because it made a noise. But now there is a technological advance. There's a gadget you can attach to your cat's collar, which gives off an inaudible high-frequency tone that scares birds away if the cat gets close. What is really cruel about this is that the cat can't hear the tone either. So there must be thousands of cats hiding in bushes thinking, I'm losing my touch here. Maybe my stomach's rumbling. I know what it is. They can smell that bleeding Ting Kangaroo on my breath. When it comes to feeding your pets, the advertisers have to be particularly inventive. Here are some ads that are a bit of a dog's dinner.
Annyi minden történik.
Akar velem vacsorázni? Ki mondott be? Igen vagy nem? Igen. Mit vegyek meg? Amit akar, mert a lakásában.
Szia, 30-kor találkozunk a kakasban. A hűtőben, a lábasban pedig megtalálod a kutya vacsoráját.
Az üzenet érték. Hallgassa vissza időben üzenetrögzítőjét.
So much more than dog food.
For 20 years, the most popular characters in British advertising were the PG Tips chimps. However, the cosy sweetness of these lovable monkeys was undermined more than a bit by the David Attenborough documentary a few years ago, which showed animals of the same species racing through the forest canopy in pursuit of smaller, weaker monkeys. After seeing that, you could never hear the line, "Do you know the piano's on my foot?" without imagining the other chimp replying, "Yes, I know it's on your foot. I put it there so I could hold you down, rip your head off and eat your brains with a spoon." Animals are so cute, aren't they?
After a hard day chasing antelope around the Serengeti, one craves the particular effervescence that comes only from Schweppes. An absolute tonic. Hello, my dear. Would you care to join me for dinner later?
What about my boyfriend?
Well, I like elephants, but I couldn't eat a whole one. Schweppes, just a little more bite.
As I do. And I never thought I'd feel this way, the way I feel about you. As soon as I wake up, every night, every day, I know that it's you I need to take the blues away. It must be love, love, love. It must be love, love, love. Nothing more, nothing less. Love is the best.
adopted a stray dog. It's a sort of sausage dog Great Dane cross. God, it must have had inventive parents. It is a very intelligent dog, fantastic at deterring burglars. When we're out, it goes round turning the lights on and off and opening and closing the curtains. I'm thinking of getting it a passport. It's brilliant. Now that the quarantine laws are being changed, all you have to do to take your dog abroad is fill out a form, get a photo taken, and then wait 15 years for the passport office staff to learn how to switch on their computers. It's weird, isn't it? My half-German, half-Danish mongrel gets a passport, no problem. Mohammed Al-Fayed, on the other hand, is still waiting. OK, so animals sell. So does sex. What about sex and animals? The cast of Emmerdale Farm leans forward attentively.
Low fuel consumption. And power. Forever as one. The new Audi A4 TDI V6.
La 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 cha 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 la 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 la. Soldi, 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 beati siamo i soldi, i bene amati soldi, perché chi ha tanti soldi vive come un pascià e a piedi caldi se ne sta. Spandi e spendi, non domandare da dove provengono. Dindi, tanti dindi per le soldi, 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 tocca sana di questa quotidiana battaglia della grana.
Star endorsements are a wonderful way of advertising. A few years ago, Michael Douglas checked himself into the Betty Ford clinic to cure himself of sex addiction. 3 months ago, he checked himself into Catherine Zeta-Jones. What a fabulous advert for the Betty Ford clinic's clear-up rate that is. Catherine Zeta-Jones has been doing some endorsements herself. In a recent interview with an American magazine, she said, "Everyone in Wales looks like me and sounds like me. Members of the jury, I give you Harry Seacombe." No one looks like Catherine Zeta-Jones. When you get down to it, real people, when they're naked, look like this.
All Finns always use a pefletti in sauna. An easy way to make a pefletti is to buy a six-pack of new Olvi CXX. First, you drink the beer. Then you make a pefletti. Also notice the bigger bottle.
Excuse me for asking, but do we know each other?
I don't think so. But do you know a place with free current account banking?
The free current account BFG Plus.
Hi, guys.
For things you'll only see once in a lifetime. The waterproof disposable camera from Agfa.
We appear to have gone a bit down market, don't we? Oh dear. And also, it's probably very bad form to end a show at this time of night with a lot of nudity. As we proved earlier, saucy TV programmes late at night can cause huge nationwide outbreaks of similar behaviour. If you fancy a bit of similar behaviour, go to bed now. If you're watching this alone or you've been married for more than 5 years, here are some ads which will elevate your thoughts to a higher plane. Sleep well.
A little over-ambitious for my sensibilities, young Dave.
You seem to know a lot about art, Jacko.
Oh, yeah. Could say I've dabbled a bit.
What score would you give it?
Oh, when I judge these things, I usually ask myself, what would Pablo Picasso have done?
Who's Picasso?
Very famous artist from the Nouveau post-neoclassical Byzantine area. Bit his ear off in a bout of depressionism. Really brilliant.
What would he have done?
Anyone can be an art critic this Christmas when Western Australia's top artists decorate the windows of Northbridge.
He wouldn't have done that, would he?
Providing details in the Sunday Times and come all ye artful.
There's more from Joe in just a moment here on BBC One, and next week it's Jonathan Ross. Details coming up.